Hello my lovelies, and welcome to my little cottage by the sea, the place where I love to stitch and craft my way to a vintage inspired and sustainable lifestyle. You find me on this chilly but very sunny November morning in my studio at the top of my cottage by the sea, and I'm actually repairing, very long overdue project this, repairing a vintage dress, a 1930s black crepe dress that I bought quite a long time ago now, over a year ago now, from Sunless Antiques, which is in St Leonard's, and it's got a bit of a tear in it, but it's such a beautiful dress. There's a little bit of fraying, so I just am spending a leisurely little while this morning repairing this dress so that I can actually wear it. Another thing that I need to do is to go over all the seams. So anybody who's bought vintage knows that the thing that disintegrates are the threads that actually sew the dress together, and I have found to my peril using vintage thread to do sewing projects has caused a huge amount of consternation and frustration. So it's possible that I might have to sew over all the seams. Anyway, I'm going to get on with that and just have a little chat with you and share some of my lovely moments from this November, because it's been a really lovely, relaxed and gentle November, and there's lots of things that have been going on here in my neck of the woods. So what I've done is I found some black fabric, and I'm matching the sort of the weight of the fabrics. I feel like if I used something that wasn't similar, it's going to sort of change the way the fabric falls. So I'm just going to snip off a little square of this fabric. Of course, all of this fabric is a magnet for Ghost's Floof, for some cat glitter, but I'm resigned to the fact that this happens. And I'm just going to cut off a little square. Probably should have measured this actually. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this behind the tear here, and then sort of top stitch it, just kind of darn it back together, because I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to get the best possible finish there. And then I'm going to go over and snip over any of these sort of frayed bits that are kind of sticking out. It's kind of in the places that you would expect. So sort of here, maybe where a coat has rubbed or a bag or something. So let me get all my bits together and I'll get on with that. So I've popped the little bit of fabric behind there, and I've put my tailor's ham just to separate the layers, and there's the little square of fabric, and then laid this over, and then I'm just going to pin it carefully in place. Would help if I actually put my eyeballs on to do this. So one of the loveliest things that I did way back at the beginning of November was I went and helped my kiddo who had knitted and crocheted all these really lovely things for sale, and they did a village fete, like a village Christmas fete, and it was so lovely and so much fun to sit there with my child. And even though they're a grown person now, I always think of them as my child, because we do, don't we? And basically was sort of moral support, not really that they needed it because they're so fantastic. And that was a really lovely thing to do, and it really got me into the festive spirit. I actually usually find this easier to do with a beading needle, but I don't have one particularly right here at this moment, so I'm just going to make do. And yeah, and I'm going to double this. Probably could just do it single. If it was finer fabric, I'd probably do this as a single bit of thread. And snip that, just snip the end off there. Take photos for the old gram. Is it really happening if you don't take photos of it and put it up on there? I don't know. And then it's just a case of wherever I'm putting the needle on the inside between the new bit of fabric, and I'm just doing tiny little small stitches to just secure that tear and close it up as neatly as I can. Probably need some kind of magnifying spectacles for this. I'll just do the best job I can. And that's essentially what I'm gonna spend the next little bit of time doing, listening to a podcast. I'm enjoying Hammer Time by The Evolution of Horror, about all the Hammer films, because they are a real love of mine. So I'm listening to the one about the Hounds of the Baskervilles at the moment, so I'm going to crack on with that. It is a day in November, don't know what day, don't know the date either, but the temperatures have plummeted, the sun is shining, the sky is blue, but it is freezing, hence my Dr. Zhivago styling inside, because it's freezing in my little cottage by the sea. I've just had a very exciting delivery from Joni. I don't often buy anything new, but I do like Joni for their design. The quality of a lot of their fabrics is pretty good, and they are a B Corp certified company, so they have got some sustainability credentials. No one's perfect, it's not even perfect, so in your own clothes, because of wherever those fabrics come from. So on the very rare occasion that I buy something, it might be from Joni, but I've only bought a few things. And I like the fact that you get a bookmark, and this one's very pretty. So I should have opened this on camera, I realise, but I didn't think of it. But it's a jumpsuit in this leopard, like little flowers that make up the leopard print. So got pockets, elasticated on the back. I'm gonna try it on, and if it's a, then I'll show you. If it's a, oh, I'm just gonna repackage it. But I have to be very careful with the bags, because someone, not mentioning any names at all, Ghost, likes to get in them and play with them and scratch them. So I have to keep them away from it until I've tried this on. So I have put on my Joni leopard print jumpsuit, attractive modelling going on here, and I absolutely love it. It's very rare for me to buy things ready-made from new rather than thrift or make, but it is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'm just wearing it with a Marks and Spencer's little turtleneck thingy. I've got some, I think these are Kate Spade pearl earrings that I got from Wardrobe, so they are thrifted in a sense. And then the jumpsuit, which is so comfortable, and I've just got it sort of open to show the turtleneck. It does do up, it's a little bit snug, but I wanted that sort of oversized yet still fitted. I've got a little leather Marks and Spencer's belt, which I thrifted for £1, and then some vintage bangles. This one is a really beautiful one. I've got a cream one of these as well. I think they're sort of 30s-ish. And then I have, which if I can show you, hold on a minute, here we go. These are Marks and Spencer's leather boots as well, from Vinted, and some socks. I mean, we don't need to know about my lingerie beyond that. And then rings. This was from an antique shop. It's a looks very fabulous Victorian faux ring. That was £6. These were by a lovely jewellery designer, I can't remember her name, but I've started wearing rings on lots of my fingers. Nearly said bells on my toes, but no. And then my Gucci ring that I wear all the time. So this is my sort of first casually how I would kind of wear this, and this is kind of my version of a tracksuit. And I'm going to show you the Marks and Spencer's coat I got. I'm not sponsored by them. And then I mentioned that I'd bought a waterproof coat rather than make one, because, you know, 14, 15 years is a bit of a long time to be waiting for a warm weatherproof coat. Got my little mittens in here. These are little sheepskin ones that my lovely friend Estelle got me, so put these on. And this is my sort of Welsh shepherd look. That's how I sort of feel in this. So it's got the hood, and it's basically a sort of a take on the Barber, Alexa Chung Barber coat. So it's fully lined. It's really, really, really warm. It's got a pocket there, it's got a pocket there, and the lovely cord on the cuffs and on the collar. A detachable hood. Look, you can see, look, here's me keeping completely warm and dry. And yeah, so really, really pleased with that. And then I would finish it off with a beret. So either a traditional wool beret or one of my vintage tassel berets, or a Marlena beret that I've made, maybe one in a tweed. I really like the fact that this is this very, very deep sort of charcoaly, like ink black colour, and normally they're sort of olive or whatever, but this is my walking through the Welsh mountains looking for my lost sheep look. So yeah, all ready for snow days. So I wanted to update you on a little bit of reading and the most fabulous book. So this is Susan Hill, The Man in the Picture, A Ghost Story. Susan Hill, brilliant writer who wrote The Woman in Black, which has got to be one of the most scary books, films, stage plays that there has ever been. And I found this in a charity shop and just bought it because even though I've tried to read some of her other books and found them too scary, I just wanted to give this a go. It's really more of a novella. And it says, when the former student of an old Cambridge don visits him in his college rooms, the long-held mystery of an ancient Venetian painting is exposed. Sat around the fire, drinking whiskey, huddling from the chill of the winter night, the don reveals the picture's hidden secrets, its malevolent power, inescapable force, and the consequences for those who become entrapped. And I read this just in 2 little sittings, 2 evenings, and actually I was able to read this in bed before I turn the light off. There are definitely some chilling moments in it, but it really is a sort of wintry ghost tale in that tradition of M.R. James, the sort of Christmas ghost tale. And there's a wonderful twist, sort of twist at the end that made me go, oh. So absolutely loved this one. It just goes at a huge pace. It's got everything you want from that sort of traditional ghost story in that traditional oeuvre of ghost stories. And yeah, just could not recommend this more. Really pleased that I bought it for about £1.50 from a charity shop, and I'm going to give The Woman in Black a go off the back of this. I've tried before and really failed. One of the other things that I'm reading, just a bit of an impulse, and it's a reread for me, are the diaries of Vivienne Westwood, Get a Life. I've read this about 4 or 5 times, and for me, Vivienne Westwood is one of those people who, when I'm having a bit of a down moment, when I'm feeling uninspired, when I feel like I've lost my way or I need to make some decisions, I feel like dipping into this book or watching the documentary that is just brilliant, or reading her autobiography actually, which I'm also listening to as an audio book whilst I'm reading this. I always feel like I find the answers with her in a similar way to if I need to sort of solve a problem or I'm feeling a bit lackluster, whatever. I really think about my lovely Nan, and I think about what she would have done and what she would say to me if she were here to have a conversation with me. So I feel guided and supported by these people who are not here. But this is such a fascinating book. I've got actually loads of like little creature, they're not post-it notes but markers. Look, they're really, really sweet. So they're these little markers that are from the now defunct Paper Chase, but used to love that shop, stationery, and the postcard from the Marie Antoinette exhibition, which is sort of why I'm revisiting Vivienne Westwood, because that exhibition, which I did a talk about on Patreon, Marie Antoinette, the Queen of Fashion in Fashion, just took me back to Vivienne Westwood. Sort of, she's one of those real inspirations for me, one of my favourite designers, and I'm just finding so many really lovely things in this. So I just thought I would read a little bit that here she's talking about this sort of idea, and it's about our best self, and she said the best self, it's a moral choice, an attempt to understand the world and be part of the great human drama. And she goes on to say that there's a different, she's talking about the fact that there's your ordinary self, which kind of doesn't behave so well and is greedy and childish and reactive and all of those things, but your best self is this sort of higher version of yourself. And Vivienne Westwood's perspective was that this sort of high culture was a way to really live your best self life. Really, really paraphrasing that, and there's a lot more to it. So this is what she said, and I thought this was really interesting. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it, but it was interesting. Leading up to and throughout the 20th century, the main ethos has been the cultivation of the ordinary self, doing as we like. This ethos is now global. We have been arrested in our development. This is why politicians can't progress. Progress is measured by consumption. This is why I say we're dangerously short of culture. So she's sort of arguing that if you look at this sort of culture as she defines it, you'll elevate yourself, and then you'll be your best self, and you won't be sort of there just consuming stuff. And part of it is this kind of slow living and you know, being sustainable, which is fascinating in this book, because she's kind of talking about her struggle to sort of reconcile the fact that she's this global brand and designer and output into the world, and there's all of that, and that's about consumption, but then her sort of real desire to make a positive change and do that in a positively impactful way. So it's really, really fascinating. And there's a lot of stuff about how she designs and just the progress and her thoughts on life. So I really, really love this book, and I think this is probably about the 6th or 7th time I've reread it, and yeah, it's wonderful. And then the other thing that I always read at this time of year, I have done for the last 3 or so years, is Nigel Slater's The Christmas Chronicles, which I've probably spoken about here before. And it starts in November, so 1st of November. It's written in a diary form, and it's everything to do with the festive season, going all the way up to the end of January, beginning of February. And I really like that because, you know, you have all the excitement of festivities and celebrating, and then January can be quite bleak and soul destroying. But actually having an understanding of older traditions and Twelfth Night being something to celebrate in sort of mid-January is something that I really appreciate. There's lots of recipes in here. What I tried to do is I tried to read the day on the day, so read 1st of November and then all the subsequent days on the actual days. I have to show you this though. Look, someone, not mentioning any names, Ghost, has been eating the ends of my book ribbons, but my little bookmark that came with this jumpsuit, Joni jumpsuit, actually goes really beautifully with the book. So it's very little things like that that are really pleasing to me. So these are the things that I am currently reading, and I try to sort of read something non-fiction. I mean, I'm actually reading another non-fiction book as well, and then loving sort of short stories and ghost stories. So that's sort of where we're at with reading, but definitely buy this because it's just phenomenal. This is the next book on my reading list, the next one I'm going to be tackling. Hunger Stone by Kat Dunn. For What Do You Hunger? Ghost is obviously very excited about this. It's the most beautiful book. I mean, look at the cover, and the end papers are all sprayed. It's beautiful Schiaparelli pink. It's a rewrite of Carmilla, from what I understand, Sheridan Le Fanu's. I think it was like 1874-ish book about a female vampire, or was she? Fabulous film, actually. And also the, I think it's called The Vampire Lovers. The Hammer House one with Ingrid Pick. Really good fun. Was a version of it as well. And it's got, oh look, one of these things which Ghost absolutely loves. Excuse the weird camera angle and the lack of maquillage, but I'm not quite ready to get on with the day. But I've just had a delivery from the Wool Warehouse, and I thought I'd share what I got with you because I'm working on a new knitting project called the Estelle Bonnet, which is currently being developed. And I bought some wool to do some samples, but for whatever reason, I don't know what it is about the Wool Warehouse website. I thought I ordered 3, but I've actually ordered 6 of these. These are a bit more oatmeal-y than I thought. The colour is actually pearl white. It was only £1 something, so what can you do? But I'm estimating that I need 3 balls, 150 grams-ish of wool for each bonnet. That may not be true, so I may be glad that I've got extra. And then I also got the Drops Nepal. These are Aran weight. It's an Aran weight pattern when it arrives, if it arrives, fingers crossed. And this is like I don't know what colour it is. Hold on, I have got the doodah here. It is one of my favourite sorts of colours, blush. So it's this sort of vintagey blush. This is really soft. It's a mix of things. It says mix. wool and alpaca, so lovely and soft. So that would be lovely. And then I thought I got one ball, but I've got 2 of the Drops Nord to finish off a project that I'm working on. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's me just being a bit scatterbrained or whether it's a problem that everybody seems to have. But anyway, got rather a lot of knitting to do, so I'm looking forward to cracking on with the Estelle bonnet and working through loads of UFOs that I've got for knitting, and some of them I'm having a bit of a quandary with, so you may find out about those at some point. It's a very, very dismal, dreary day here in Hastings, but I just wanted to show you my casual outfit today because I'm really enjoying it. So I've got this dirndl skirt, just bought the fabric, it's just gathered onto a waistband, and I wasn't wearing it because it was a bit too short. And what I've done is I've just sewn on what looks like a petticoat here. It's not a petticoat, so showing you my drawers and everything. But this was a broderie anglaise trim of like a bed skirt. I don't really know what they're called, but you put them on beds and they make your beds look pretty. And it was all a bit ruined on the top of it. So I just undid all of this and had loads of it because you do need quite a lot. And it's just absolutely changed up the whole dynamic. And this is a little cotton jumper that I got from Primark, which is not the most ideal place to be shopping when sustainability is part of what you do, but sometimes you just gotta get the thing and not really do yourself in with the guilt. I'm so fed up of feeling guilty about stuff, honestly. Then I've got this silk little scarf, 1930s scarf that my friend Caroline bought me, and a silver locket, Victorian locket, that was my 21st birthday present from my aunt. And then on my feet, which I've really got to work out a way of showing you these things that are a little bit more flattering, but I'm wearing my silver clogs of power, some thermal socks from Marks and Spencer's, and thermal leggings from Marks and Spencer's. So what I tend to do with my outfits, I've got silver jewellery on, I've matched my clogs to my jewellery, and then I've got the creams and the little flower print in this is cream. So I've kind of linked all of those together, and the socks are cream, so I'm doing that. And even actually, my eyeballs are cream today. So this is sort of what I would be wearing instead of a tracksuit, because I don't have one of those. And actually, I feel lovely and snuggly and warm, and yeah, feeling quite good. I would actually like to go and rock and roll somewhere today, but it's just far too miserable. So a couple of things before I sign off. It's the very end of November and I'm revamping my Patreon. I've been working on it for quite a long time, and the launch day is Monday, so I've got rather a lot to do, but I'm so excited about it. I'm really reinvigorated about content over there and how I'm going to be moving forward with my Patreon and Patreon content and interactivity and a collation. Those are the words du jour about Patreon. So if you are a follower there, thank you so much for your ongoing support or your kindness. I couldn't do any of this without my patrons, so huge shout out, love, hug, kisses, appropriate kisses to all who support me over there, and of course for all of your support. But I have a couple of things before I go that I really wanted to share with you. And the first thing is I found a couple of little bits in a local antique shop, and they're horse brasses. So these are a kind of traditional English British thing. I don't know if they're sort of all over the British Isles, but they're a quite a sort of folky, old-fashioned-y thing. And I saw an account I follow on Instagram is one of the many folk accounts I follow. I think it's called the Folk Archive, it might be. But there was a sort of a collection of horse brasses, and they were all sort of witchy ones, and I just thought, oh, I'd love some of those. Anyway, I found some in a shop, so I got a couple of cats. There's one cat, Sorry, the real life cat is playing with the Joni package. He's managed to get it off the side and he's having a grand old time. And then a one from Wales, because my Nana Jones was Welsh and she came from Panticumar. So I'm of Welsh heritage, so I'm going to put this up. And also I thought the sort of traditional folk costume of Wales is quite witchy in its appearance, and actually it's something I really want to know a little bit more about. That might be a hint about some upcoming videos that I may be doing in the new year, but until then. So last couple of things, I'm going through all my knitting projects, my UFOs, which are many, and I've dug out this one and I'm in a real conundrum about it. I feel like I'm very, very lucky with my online presence, because for the most part, 99.9% of the time, everybody is really lovely, gives really constructive feedback, makes really valid points, is really inspiring, encouraging but kind. So I feel very, very lucky. So I value your opinions. And this is the, it sort of looks like this at the moment. I knitted a lot of this. So this is one of Tash Could Make That's knitting patterns. And I can't remember what it's called. It is the Wondrella. So it's this one here. Really lovely. Bought it as soon as she released it. Done it in black. So this is where we've got, so I've done all the back and the front, and now I'm on to that sleeve and got another sleeve, and the wool is the do excuse eyeballs on, Drops Nord Unicolor, and then the Drops Kid Silk in the Super Kid Mohair and silk. If you hear a weird whistling noise, it's my kettle about to shout at me. But got some wool. I just don't like knitting it. I like the fabric that the wool's making, and I like the colour, and I love the design, but for some reason I just found it a real chore to knit. That's nothing to do with the pattern, it's me, something that's going on with me. So I'm like, do I just undo it all and use the wool for something else, or do I just sort of knuckle down and just get it finished? Because I really would get it finished pretty quickly, I think, and I know that it will be a really wearable item in my wardrobe. I think I'll really enjoy it. I can feel that next to my skin, that kid silk mohair is a little bit itchy, but I would be wearing this over stuff. So if you could pop in the comments your suggestions, your ideas, then I'd be really grateful, because I'm really stuck. I don't know what to do, and it's just a waste of all the work that I've already done to finish it and then not wear it. But then it's also sort of a waste to just leave it like this and not use the wool for something else that I might really enjoy knitting. So answers on a postcard in the comments below, please, my lovelies. Very, very lastly, before I leave you to the rest of your November, I picked up the latest copy of Vogue with Millie Bobby Brown wearing this incredible knitted dress. I actually don't know who that's by, but I watched the first part of the last series of Stranger Things last night. I'm sure there'll be lots of people who have their thoughts about it. The last episode of the first part, that last bit, I had to watch it twice. I was whooping, I was yesing, I was absolutely loved it. I thought it was just so brilliant. If you have seen it and you enjoyed it, you'll know what I mean. But I'm really enjoying sort of having a look again at fashion magazines, all part of the Revamp. For those of you who maybe don't know, I've been a pattern cutter and samplist in the industry, fashion industry, for a very long time, as well as running a sort of a parallel career as a teacher, educator. So I always do like to keep an eye on what's happening in the world of fashion, because you know, teaching, bright young things who are just starting out in their fashion career, you kind of have to have some kind of understanding of where they're coming from. I was taught by somebody on my degree who was just so disparaging of new things and fashion, and was so old-fashioned, like she really couldn't get over herself at all. And being the feisty person that I am, that made some quite interesting moments, shall we say, just to see who this, oh, of course it's McQueen, hand knitted cashmere dress. But I really love it, and I think it's really clever that actually it's very Stranger Things, isn't it? It's very upside down, and I'm enjoying thinking about how this dress may be constructed. I'm assuming that they sort of made the base dress and then knitted these tubes and sort of wove them and top stitched them maybe, but possibly I'm wrong. It's quite a complex looking operation that's gone on there. But my kettle's about to whistle and say make a cup of tea, so I'm off to do that. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend the time with me here in my little cottage by the sea. I am really enjoying making these sort of monthly vlog videos which share more about my life here in Hastings. I really hope that you're enjoying them too, and wherever you are in the world, my lovelies, I hope you're keeping safe and well, and I shall see you soon. Bye.